Hello students, welcome to my channel. So in the last video we started with the introduction for chapter 5, that is lines and angles, and in this video we are going to solve some of the exercise problems. Okay, so we will start with exercise 5.1. Okay, so let's go into the questions. Okay, so what is the first question? Find the complement of the following angles. Okay, so they've given three angles and we have to find the complement of these angles. Okay, so what do you mean if you say that two angles are complement to each other? What do you actually mean? That the sum of the measurement of these two angles is equal to 90 degrees, right? So if sum of two angles is equal to 90 degrees, we call the angles to be complements. Okay, so if they are asking what is the complement of this angle, so we have to see how much is the measure of this angle, that is 20 degrees. Okay, so what should we do? 20 plus 20 degrees plus let the complement angle be x. Okay, so 20 plus x is equal to 90 degrees, right? So what is x? X is equal to 90 minus 20, that is equal to 70 degrees. Okay, so the complementary angle should be of the measurement 70 degrees, right? So let's draw an angle measuring 70 degrees. Okay, so let this be 70 degrees. So this is the complementary angle to this one. Okay, so if you see the measurement of both, 20 plus 70 is equal to 90 degrees. That means that these two angles are complements of each other. Okay, so next let's go on to the next problem, that is how much is the angle measurement? 63 degrees. Okay, so what does this mean? 63 plus the complement to this angle is, let this be x, is equal to 90 degrees. Correct? So what is x? X is equal to 90 minus 63, that is equal to 27 degrees. Okay, so the complement to this angle should be 27 degrees. Okay, so let's draw an angle of measurement 27 degrees. Okay, so this is the complement to this angle, 63 degree angle. Okay, so if you add both these measurements, 63 plus 27 is equal to 90 degrees, correct? Now let's go on to this angle. Okay, so what is the measurement? 57 degrees. Okay, so we have to find the complement to this angle. So 57 plus x is equal to 90 degrees. So x is equal to 90 minus 57 is equal to 33 degrees. Okay, so you draw an angle measuring 33 degrees. Okay, so this is the complement to this 57 degree angle. Clear with this? Let's move on to our next question. Okay, now let's move into our second problem. Okay, the second problem is find the supplement for each of the following angle. Okay, so what do you mean by supplements? So when you add any two angles, if the sum is equivalent to 180 degrees, the two angles are said to be supplements of each other. Okay, so they have asked what is the question? Find the supplement for each of the following angle. And they have given three angles. Okay, so let's go take one by one. First one is 105 degrees. Okay, so what do you mean by this? If you want to find the supplement for this angle, you should know that 105 plus let x be the supplement. Okay, 105 plus x is equal to 180. Correct? So what is x? X is equal to 180 minus 105, that is equivalent to 75 degrees. Okay, so draw an angle measuring 75 degrees. 75 degrees. Okay, this is just approximate. Okay, so this is the supplement for this angle. Okay, now let's move on to the next question, that is 87 degrees. Okay, so 87 plus its supplementary angle x is equivalent to 180 degrees. Correct? So what is x? X is equal to 180 minus 87 is equal to 93 degrees. Okay, so draw an angle measuring 93 degrees. Okay, this is the supplement for this one, 87 degree angle. Okay, now let's move on to the next question, which is 154 degrees. So 154 plus x is equal to 180 degrees. So x is equal to 180 minus 154 is equivalent to how much? 64, 74, 26 degrees. Okay, so just draw an angle measuring 26 degrees. Okay, so this is the supplement to this angle. So clear with this? Complementary angle and supplementary angle. Okay, now we will move on to the next question. Okay, now let's move on to the third question. Okay, what is the third question? Identify the complementary and supplementary angles. Okay, so what is the condition? So they have given two angles in each question. Okay, so first thing you have to do is add the two angles. Okay, so if the sum is 90 degrees, it is complementary angle. If the sum is 180 degrees, it is supplementary angle. Okay, so it's very easy, right? So let's go one by one. Okay, so what is the first question? 65 plus 115. Okay, so if you add 65 plus 115, what is the answer? 180. So it is complementary or supplementary? Supplementary angle, right? Supplementary. Now let's take the next question. 63 and 27. 63 plus 27 is equal to 90. So what is it? It is complementary. Right? Because the sum is 90, so it should be complementary. Now what about the third one? 112 plus 68 is equal to how much? 180. So what is this? Complementary or supplementary? Yes, it is supplementary. Okay. Now let's move on to the next one. 130 plus 50. 130 plus 50 is equal to 180. So which makes it supplementary. Okay. Now the fifth question is 45 degree and 45 degrees. Okay. So 45 plus 45 is equal to 90 degrees, which make these two complementary. Okay. So these two are complementary. Okay. What is the last question? 80 degree and 10 degree. So 80 plus 10 is equal to again 90 degrees, which makes these two angles again complementary. Clear with this? Okay. Now we will move on to our next question. Okay. Now let's move on to the fourth and fifth question. Okay. What is the fourth question? Find the angle which is equal to its complement. What does that mean? Complements means if you add both the angles, the sum should be 90 degrees. Right? And what is the next condition? Both the angles should be the same. Okay. So how to do it? Let x be the angle and its complement. Okay. So both should be x. Both should be the same angle. So x plus x should be equal to 90 degrees. Correct? If they are complements, their sum should be equal to 90 degrees. 2x equal to 90 degrees. X is equal to 90 divided by 2, which is equal to 45 degrees. Even without doing all these things, if we think a bit, we'll be able to know, right? So if you add two angles, the answer should be 90 degrees. And both the angles should be equal, means the angle should be 45 degree only, right? So the answer is 45 degree. Now what is the next question? Find the angle which is equal to its supplement. Supplement base means what? If you add two angles, the answer should be 180 degrees. Correct? And both the angles should be the same. So how to find it out? Let x be the angle and its supplement. So x plus x is equal to 180 degrees. 2x equal to 180 degrees. X equal to 180 by 2, which is equal to 90 degrees. So if both the angles are 90 degrees, they will be supplements, right? Supplement to each other. Correct? And both the angles will be 90 degrees. So that means they are equal also. Okay? So the answer is 90 degrees. So clear with this? Now let's move on to the next question. So now let's move on to our sixth problem. Okay? So they have given a figure here where two angles 1 and 2 are supplementary angles. Right? So the sum of both the angles is 180 degree. That means that these both angles are supplementary. Now what is the question? In the given figure, angle 1 and angle 2 are supplementary angles. If 1 is decreased, what changes should take place in 2 so that both the angles will remain supplementary? Okay. So what is the question? So they are saying this angle 1, they are going to reduce it. Okay. So now the angle is like this. If they are reducing angle 1, okay, like this. This is 1. Okay. Now what will happen to angle 2? What will happen to angle 2? But both the angles should remain supplementary. Okay. So if angle 1 is reduced, what should happen? Angle 2 has to increase, right? For example, angle 1 is 60 degrees. What is angle 2? If both the angles are supplementary, if angle 1 is 60 degrees, what is angle 2? Angle 2 should be 120 degrees, right? Which makes both the sum 180 degrees. Okay, now here it is a reverse. The way they have drawn, let angle 1 be 120 degrees plus angle 2 be 60 degrees. What is the sum? 180 degrees. Now what they have asked, angle 1 they are going to reduce. So let angle 1 be 100 degrees. Okay, they have reduced angle 1 from 120 to 100. So what should happen to angle 2? Okay, so the sum should anyways be 180 degrees because they have given both, the sum of both the angles should be 180 degrees. They should be supplementary. Okay, so what is x here? X is equal to 80 degrees, right? So angle 1, when they reduced from 120 to 100, angle 2 increased from 60 to 80 degrees. Okay, so that means that when we decrease angle 1, angle 2 will increase to make the sum constant, that is 180 degrees. Clear with this? Okay, now let's move on to the next problem. Now let's move on to the seventh question. Okay, what is the seventh question? Can two angles be supplementary if both of them are acute, obtuse and right angle? Okay, so what is acute angle? If an angle is less than 90 degrees, it is called acute angle, right? So let's see, what is the largest acute angle which you can think of? Maximum measurement of acute angle we can think of is 89 degrees, right? So if it reaches 90 degree, it will become right angle. So let's take 89 degrees. Okay, so 89. See, both they have said both the angles should be acute. Okay, not one angle. Both the angles should be acute. So x, if you take x plus y is equal to 180 degree, x should also be acute, y should also be acute. Okay. So if we take 89 degrees, which is the largest acute angle, 89 plus 89, what is the answer? 178. Okay, so is 178 supplementary? I mean, it should reach 180, right? So only if the sum is equal to 180, we call it supplementary. So even if we take the largest acute angle, the answer is only 178. That means that if we add two acute angle, the answer will never be, the angle will never be supplementary. Okay, so two acute angles can never be supplementary to each other. Okay, so now let's take the second one, obtuse angle. Okay, so obtuse angle, what is the, what do you mean by obtuse angle? The angle should be more than 90 degrees, right? So what is the minimum obtuse angle which you can think of? It is 91 degrees, right? So obtuse angle means, see, if we take x plus y is equal to 180 degree, x should be obtuse, y should also be obtuse. Okay. So what is the minimum obtuse angle which you can think of? 91 plus 91. Okay. So if you take 91 plus 91, what is the answer? 182. So if the sum is 182, do we call the angle supplementary? No, it should be 180, right? So if we take two obtuse angle, they will never be supplementary to each other. Okay, because the minimum obtuse angle itself, if we add, the sum comes more than 180, that is 182. Okay, so if we take two obtuse angle, the sum can never be, I mean the angles will never be supplementary. Okay. Now let's take right angles. What do you mean by right angle? Right angle, if the measurement of an angle is 90 degrees, we call the angle to be right angle. Okay. So if we add two right angles, what will happen? 90 plus 90, which is equal to 180 degree. Okay. So if we take two right angles, the two angles will be supplementary to each other. Okay. If we take obtuse angles, if we take two obtuse angles, it will not be supplementary to each other. If we take two acute angles also, it will not be supplementary to each other. So clear with this? Okay, now let's move on to the next question. Okay, now let's take the next question, that is 8th question. Okay, an angle is greater than 45 degrees. Is its complementary angle greater than 45 degrees, equal to 45 degrees or less than 45 degrees? Okay, so let this be the angle. Let this be the angle. Okay. Let this be 46 degrees, for example. Okay, so let this be 46 degrees. Okay, they have said angle is greater than 45 degrees. Okay, so we will take it as 46 degrees. Now they have asked, what is the complementary? Is it the complementary angle? Is it greater than 45, equal to 45, or less than 45? Okay, so 46 degree plus its complementary angle x will make how much? 90 degrees, right? 90 degrees. So x is equal to 90 minus 46 is equivalent to 44. Correct? So 44 is less than 45, right? So if an angle is greater than 45 degrees, its complementary angle is less than 45 degrees. So clear with this? Because the sum of both should be 90 degrees, right? So if one increases, the other has to decrease, right? So it is like that. So clear with this? Okay, now let's move on to the next problem. Okay, now let's move into our 9th question. Okay, in the 9th question, they have given a figure, and from that figure, they have asked certain questions. Okay, so let's go through the questions one by one. So there are 5 angles here. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. And the COD, they have given us a straight line, and AOB is a straight line. Okay. So, let's go into the question 1 now. Is angle 1 adjacent to angle 2? So, which is our angle 1 here? Angle AOC is our angle 1, right? So, This is our angle 1. Correct? AOC. This is our angle 1 here. Correct? Now, which is our angle 2? Angle COE is our angle 2. This COE. Okay? This is our angle 2. Okay? Now, are these two adjacent? So, what are the conditions for two angles to be adjacent to each other? There is a common vertex, that is O is a common vertex, and there is a common arm, that is OC. OC is a common arm, and there are two non-common arms on either side of the common arm, that is OA and OE. Okay? And there are no point inside the two angles which are common. Okay? So, the two angles are entirely separate. They don't overlap with each other. Okay? So, that means that these two angles AOC, that is angle 1 and angle 2 are adjacent angles. Okay? Because all the conditions are met. So, the answer for the first question is yes. Okay? So, this angle AOC and angle COE, that is angle 1 and angle 2 are adjacent angles. Okay? So, the first question is solved. Now, what is the second question? Is angle AOC adjacent to angle AOE? Okay. So, which is angle AOC here? AOC. That is this one. Okay. AOC. Correct? This is our AOC. AOC. Okay. And angle AOE. Which is our angle AOE? AOE. That is A, O and E. Okay. So, this is our first angle AOC and this is our second angle AOE. Okay. So, are these two angles adjacent? No, right? Because they have an overlapping portion here. Okay. So, this portion, that is this portion, is common to both AOC and AOE, right? This portion is overlapping, right? So, that means that these two angles are not adjacent to each other, right? So, one of the conditions, this is the last condition for adjacent angles, is that there should not be a common point in the interior of both angles, or there should not be an overlapping portion between both the angles. Okay, but here there is an overlapping portion here, right? So, this region is overlapping, right? AOC and AOE, this region is overlapping. So, these two angles are not adjacent angles. Okay. So, answer for the second one is no. AOC, that is AOC and AOE are not adjacent. Clear with this? Okay, now let's move on to the third question. Okay, now what is the next question? Do angle COE and angle EOD form a linear pair? So, which is angle COE? This is angle COE, right? So, let me draw this. Okay, so this is what is there. I have just taken these two angles and I have drawn here. Okay, so angle COE, this is angle COE which I have drawn here, COE, and angle EOD, EOD which I have drawn here, EOD. Do these two angles form a linear pair? What are the conditions for a linear pair? If two angles are linear pair, first condition is they should be adjacent angles. Are these two adjacent angles? Yes, they are adjacent angles, right? Because these two satisfy all the conditions for an adjacent angle. They have a common vertex, they have a common arm, they have two common arms on the two uncommon arms which are on the either side of the common arm, and they don't have any overlapping portion. So these two angles are adjacent angles. What is the next condition? The two non-common arms should form a straight line. So does it satisfy this? The OC and OD are the two non-common arms. COD form a straight line. Okay, so both the conditions for linear pair is satisfied here. So angle COE and angle EOD form a linear pair. Okay, so the answer for the third question is yes, they form a linear pair. Now what is the next question? Are angle BOD and angle DOA supplementary? Okay, so where is angle BOD here? BOD. Okay, and where is angle DOA? DOA. Okay, so let's draw this separately. So this is our figure. Okay, so this BOD and DOA, I have separately taken these two and drawn it here. BOD and DOA. This is O. Okay, are these two supplementary? Now this AB form a straight line. Okay, this straight line, this is straight line, and the sum of this angle and the sum of this angle will be obviously 180 degrees because this form a straight line. Okay, so if the sum of two angles is 180 degrees, both the angles are supplementary, right? So angle BOD and angle DOA are supplementary. So the answer is yes, they are supplementary. Okay, now let's move into our next question. Now let's move into our fifth question. Is angle 1 vertically opposite to angle 4? Which is angle 1 here? This is angle 1. Okay, so let this be A, B, C and D. Okay, so this is angle 1 and this is angle 4. Okay, so are these both vertically opposite to each other? See, this is a straight line. COD is a straight line here, and AOB, this is also a straight line. Okay, so two straight lines intersect at a point. Okay, so the angle here and angle here, that is 1 and 4, are vertically opposite angles. Okay, so the answer for this fifth question is yes, they are vertically opposite. Okay, now what is the last question? What is the vertically opposite angle of angle phi? Which is angle phi here? This is angle phi. Okay, so let's draw that. Okay, so this AB and CD are straight lines. Okay, and B, which is angle B here? AOD. AOD is angle phi, right? So angle phi is AOD. AOD is angle phi. So which is the vertically opposite angle to this? This one, right? So angle COD is a vertically opposite angle to angle phi, that is AOD. Okay, so the answer for this is angle COB. So clear with this?